is the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS show with John Impemba and James Grande.
What's going on, FA Nation? John Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS Playbook Preview Show. It is Friday. We have 8 games on the main slate, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern, running all the way to the 10:30 Eastern hour. And this slate's going to be something here, James. The Celtics are taking their turn around the bench everybody run. The majority of their starting five is listed as questionable for this front leg of a back-to-back for against Detroit. We have the Lakers guys as questionable. We have the Miami players as questionable. We have the Minnesota players all questionable. So I don't envy the position you're going to be in as the one who is putting together the playbook for this slate here. So I mean, there's the fair reaction to what we're looking for here on this 8-game slate.
Smile through it, John. Just see what this guy's doing right here. Just
smiling through the pain that is this slate here. All right, Boston, Detroit. Detroit is getting 13 at home. Front leg of a back-to-back for Boston, 224. Thunder, Toronto. Toronto at home is getting 15 to 228. Pelicans, Miami. Miami's at home giving 4.5 here, 209. Pelicans lost Brandon Ingram to an injury today. They're on the second leg of a back-to-back. We'll see what's going on there. I don't see Cleveland, Minnesota spread. I don't know if you have one or not there, James. But not on my screen. I don't see. I see a no total and no spread yet.
I do. I do. 211.5. Minnesota giving 5.5 at home.
All right. So that's what you got in yours. Memphis, San Antonio giving 6, 219. Indiana versus Golden State giving 4.5, 239.5. Clippers, Portland getting 13, 218.5. Philly, LA, Lakers giving 9, 227.5. Pacers, Golden State feels like a pretty fun matchup there to stack. Memphis, San Antonio feels like potentially a pretty fun matchup to play, but no Desmond Bane in that game. So, there's that to pay attention to as well. Again, we'll go through all the injuries, but it's a lot of orange and red on our screens here today when it comes to this main slate. So let's just do our best to dive into it. Point guard position seems relatively clean. SGA is up top at 10-5, has that matchup against Toronto. Halliburton at 9K, Golden State, top total on the board, close game spread. Maxey down to 87, Curry at 86, Harden at 85, Cade at 82. Those are your top guards here, only 2 over 9K.
Yeah, I mean, this is the reason why, a month or two back, I was telling you, I got to ignore blowouts because everything pointed to OKC blowing Utah out, and it was, not really competitive thanks to Chet's, dismantling. But you did get 33 minutes out of SGA, which, usually you don't get in blowouts, right? Usually SGA, you get 27 to 30 minutes typically. 53 fantasy points. I'd be okay if you land on SGA. Toronto's, it's not good right now for them. They got absolutely housed by Sacramento, and they played every player that they have on their roster played as well. So it's hard to even figure out who's playing for them. But if that game can stay competitive, SGA, John, Canadian. So heading to Canada, headed home for that one. Halliburton, I wonder if all this talk about how he can't make shots played a big role in him going 9 of 13, only taking 3 3-pointers. I wonder if that's an effort made by him and made by Carlisle to get him going, right? Differently in different ways, because 9 for 13 from the floor, we can do with that if he's not making threes. That's fine. 9K, it's a good price and a good game environment. Tyrese Maxey, can literally not get any worse than what he was against Phoenix, and we'll just chalk it up, move on. And he's in a really good spot against Lakers. So if he, finds it, there's a high ceiling. Steph, just default, you can play him in tournaments if you want. James Harden, when he's not trying to block his own teammates' shots, he looked He looked pretty good. And that I saw the tweet that guys was like, James Harden is the most unserious player of all time. Like, I wonder, and Kawhi like had like some like sideways hop. I wonder like what he was thinking. Like, is this Zaza Pachulia all over it coming at me? But instead it was just a bearded Zaza.
Yeah, Harden with the kick out and the closeout on the same
Dude,
play.
I mean, what are we doing,
I'd
dude?
never seen that was like a switch sports real quick sidetrack. But when Manny Ramirez did the diving cutoff, like for absolutely no reason whatsoever, cut the ball off in the middle of the
that
outfield.
was the best.
Yeah.
That was the best play ever.
Yeah.
That's a great comparison. But Harden in tournaments, same matchup we saw the other night. Dude, like the Cade thing, like when I tell you about the minutes, I'm not wrong. Like there's clearly something there, right? Where they're terrible. They know what they have. Like, yes, we are going to build around this player, right?
Yep.
We don't need to extend this player who has been injured for the first 2.5 years of his career. But it doesn't matter, apparently. And what if we already know Drew Holiday's not there, right? And we saw that the other night with Dame. Like Dame had 30 something actual. Like Derrick White's a good defender,
just to give clarity on the Boston situation.
Yeah.
Tatum, Brown, Porzingis, Holiday already out, Horford all questionable, Hauser's probable. So we talked about it. What we were likely going to see for a starting lineup, if they all end up being ruled out, is Derrick White, Peyton Pritchard, Sam Hauser, and then a combination of either O'Shea Brissett at the power forward spot or Xavier Tillman, and then Luke Cornett starting at center. Yep. That could be what Detroit is up against. And if that's the case, Detroit might be a bit competitive in this game. They may not. Sam Hauser might go out and knock down 15 threes.
And Derrick White knocks down 15 as well. So, like both of them.
Right. But I mean, yeah, listen. One thing I'll say with Cade, he's pretty consistent. 9 for 22, 8 for 20, 8 for 20, 8 for 20 down here. More like, he's shooting 40% from the floor. He's going to take 20 shots. He's going to shoot 40%. It's whatever you get for the rest of the stats is kind of tell you where his ceiling is. He happened to give you 10 assists in that game against the Pacers, so he got 47 fantasy points. I don't think we can play him, though.
Dude, just here's the problem, though. I messaged you the other day, 3 minutes into that game. He had 6 points, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, literally 3 minutes in. I was like, 30% of this $40 single played Cade Cunningham. And then he only played another 26 minutes, but it didn't matter. He went for 50. Right. It's
I don't see a reason to get to him because you can play Derrick White at 76, Karis LeVert at 74, Devin Vassell at 73. Maybe Terry Rozier at 72, depending who's in for Miami in this game.
Maybe D'Lo.
Yeah, maybe D'Lo.
Who plays for the Lake? I mean, both. I know we're not going to probably know, but LeBron and I think AD's probable, but LeBron listed questionable again.
Right. Simons is probable. I mean, we know what Simons is certainly capable of doing. Why take the shot on Cade at 82 when there's just a litany of guards below him? They're going to play 35 plus minutes and have the same ceiling because he's not playing 35 minutes. He's playing 29, right? So
agreed.
So I probably don't get the Cade, but I just mentioned a whole bunch of guards that I'm definitely interested in playing. In the mid tier here, again, 8 games, pretty loaded at the guard position. And we go below. I mean, of the mid tier, who's your 1 or 2 core plugs?
Well, Derrick White, first and foremost. It doesn't matter who's in or out right now. Derrick White's just on a different planet. All everything.
People have been missing at least one player in all of these games, and he's gone 46, 38, 61 with the triple double and 47. So.
Dude, it's just he is actually just their best player. And I mean, I know it's not the best spot, but if there's no Ingram, if CJ plays a back-to-back, 6,500 for CJ is a little bit interesting, right? I mean, we don't know what New Orleans is going to do. That was a great win for Orlando tonight because they blew New Orleans out. Before the Ingram injury, they were dominating that game. Paolo triple-double. Jalen Suggs was great again. But if there's no Ingram and everyone else is in, I would have a lot of interest in the Pelicans. I know it's not a great spot, but Ingram is such a heavy usage guy, right?
Yeah.
Like mid-20s usage rate. Like there's a lot to
Yeah, he's 2 games removed from a 50 fantasy point game, so it's not like
right,
he doesn't have it, right?
right.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I like Trey Jones at 58. We talked Portland guys are down here. Banton, where's Scoot? Is Scoot down here at 54?
54, yeah.
We'll
Love the
have to,
minutes. Love
yeah,
the minutes.
yeah. I mean, there's no Simons in that game. They played him 35.
No, Simons played. No, Simons played.
Oh, okay. I thought Simons was out. All right.
No, Simons was questionable and ended up he ended up playing, but
All right. Well, even better then.
Yeah.
What did he play for minutes? I thought I just clicked on him. He didn't really
28.
play.
28.
Okay.
Him and it was a blowout.
Yeah.
They didn't play the starters in the fourth.
Sure. Okay. And then Pritchard's down here at 51. As good as Derrick White has been for like his price level, Peyton Pritchard's been just as good at his price level here. 43, 37, 33. The last 3 games, all playing over 30 minutes in this one.
Yep. It's no Drew Holiday, right? He played, 31 minutes. Dude, the Milwaukee game, they were only missing Drew and Hauser.
Yeah.
Right? Those are the only 2 missing.
Well, you saw Pat Bev did the too small to him, and then all of a sudden he just started knocking down all his shots.
Pat Bev also did it to Luke Cornett, who was 7 feet tall. I'm definitely intrigued by Pritchard. Now, conversely, we've seen Hauser upsert Pritchard a lot.
You're
right?
You're gonna do this to yourself again.
I know. I'm gonna play Pritchard, and Hauser's gonna play all the minutes. I understand. It happens every time, and every time it apparently like.
Where's Sam? We'll see where Hauser's price is. Where's Hauser?
I still feel like I'm making the correct decision. He's right there, $5,000.
Okay, so they're the same price. I wonder if recency bias would put more people on Pritchard in this game.
Maybe. I mean, it depends.
Or they're both just like 35%, right? Because they're both 5K.
Well, it depends because Drew is out, right? So that's like direct competition for Pritchard versus like if Brown and Tatum play, people will be like, oh, well.
Yeah, I'm assuming the lineup we talked about. Everybody's out. It's Pritchard, White, Hauser, Tillman, Cornett, right? Like,
dude, in that scenario, Pritchard's the better. Like, he's just the better play. He does more.
But they'll probably both be super highly owned.
Yes, they should be. It's Detroit. Like, if they're, we're gonna go into the 5 p.m. live stream if we have this data in front of us, suggesting 5 Boston guys if everyone's rolled out.
Probably true.
I mean, it's Detroit. Like, why wouldn't we? That game in general, we're just going to say stack the game and then figure out, like, the last couple pieces. Because even on the flip side, like, I'd be highly interested in some Detroit.
Yeah. See, Scottie Pippen is questionable.
That could be interesting.
Goodman's on the G League still?
Yeah, Giroux played 20 minutes off the bench. Yeah. I guess maybe they would start him at point guard. Because Kennard's out, Concher is questionable. Bane's doubtful. If there's no Pippen, it's probably Giroux starting at point guard because Vince Williams also doubtful again.
Yeah.
I mean, dude, they just unless we get word that they're gonna call Goodwin up from the G League, Giroux would be the starting point guard if Scottie Pippen's not there. 3,800, I would have interest in Giroux.
Sure. Miami started Patty Mills. He played 25 minutes.
They did.
Status quo for Miami. Do you play Patty Mills at 3,600?
I mean, it's no reason to think it's going to change other than Bam. And I don't think Bam, because they still started Jovic at the 4.
Yeah.
And they played Jovic basically all the minutes. I don't know.
I mean, I say he took a lot of shots, he just missed them, but Patty Mills is also ancient. So maybe he just can't shoot anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's super good when he plays for Australia. He was scoring 30 in the he was playing well this past summer.
If he starts, I think you got to give him at least a consideration.
Okay, we can talk about it on the live stream and then.
Okay. Shooting guard. A lot of questionables here. Edwards, Brown.
He's gonna play.
Yeah, Edwards is always going to play. But, sitting there, questionable tag. Finger injury. Super good, obviously.
From the John Collins dunk.
Right. And John Collins missed the game, probably due to
Yes.
Again, Jaylen Brown's questionable. We'll see. Paul George at 84, designating doubtful. Brandon Ingram, again, I would imagine not playing after getting injured today. We talked Derrick White, Simons. You got a lot of the same characters here. Anybody that we haven't talked about at shooting guard that you're interested in here?
Anyone that we haven't talked about. I mean, dude, if there's no Ingram, you're going to get TM3 max minutes. So anytime that happens, we get TM3 max minutes. So anytime anyone's out, Trey Murphy is max minutes. So 6K, he played 30 on Thursday. He had 21 actual. He led the team in scoring. I know Zion was in foul trouble for most of the night, but Murphy was really good. So yeah, definitely Murphy. What are we doing? Because Toronto's still shorthanded. Like, any interest in Toronto, or is it just like just a dumpster fire?
I'm actually okay with Trent. I mean, like, he played 32 minutes again. He lost by 40. So
and he took 17 shots.
Right. The thing is, like, are you playing Trent at home versus the Thunder or Murphy for $200 cheaper, right? Like, or
I agree.
Or Oubre at 65 if, Toby ends up getting ruled out here, right? Like,
yeah. Toby, I think actually Toby was a full participant. We'll see.
okay.
He practiced Thursday. We'll see.
He's obviously been very good filling out the stat sheet here at 65. Then, of course, Hauser is down here. NAW, 36 minutes for him. Naz Reid and Gobert both questionable for this game.
NAW started. He started the other day.
Yeah. Obviously did not have a good game, but you have to love the 36 minutes out of him there.
Yep. I mean, I assume they did the Kyle Anderson at the 5 and then brought guards off the bench. It's like a similar matchup, right? Jared Allen. So they might just do the same thing where you start NAW if like you said, if it's status quo in this situation as well, where NAW starts, and if he starts, I'd have interest.
So Moody got hurt in this game.
Fractured his ankle. He's done.
So who got the minutes?
So it's a little skewed because the blowout was was bad. So Chimezie Metu played a bunch. Tosan started and played 30.
Yeah, which we kind of figured that it could have been Tosan starting in that game.
Buddy Boeheim played a few minutes at the end of that game. Marcus Sasser played, but he basically split with Cade. They played some Weissman, 17 minutes.
Troy Brown got 15.
Troy Brown got 15.
Because Fontecchio, Thompson, Stewart are already all out. Now Moody's out, Grimes is out. Like,
so you're starting 5. Well, you're 4, right?
Yeah.
Cunningham,
Cade,
Duren, Ivy, Tosan.
Yeah.
That's 4.
Yep.
Then it depends on what they think Tosan is. Is Tosan how tall is this guy? He's 6'7". So if you think that Tosan, who has been fine, I guess, spacing the floor, right? He's willing to shoot the 3. If you think that maybe they start Chimezie Metu, John. I think that's a live possibility. Chimezie Metu starts at power forward here.
I'm looking for popcorn machine. There it is. Let's see. Do they ever overlap with anybody? Moody played like the whole first. Okay, he got hurt here, came out. When he got hurt, Fournier subbed in. Fournier subbed in for him. Did Fournier and did they ever overlap? But Fournier also overlapped with him for a little bit as well. The first quarter. Troy Brown played the entire fourth in that game.
I mean, we won't have to think too hard. We'll know.
Yeah, we'll know.
It's just obviously trying to figure out, like, because in theory, Boston, if they're healthy, Tatum's a 6'9" power forward, right? Yeah. So you could probably play Tosan and like Fournier or Tosan Troy Brown.
Yeah, I don't even think they're going to try to match up size there because there's some, it won't matter.
But I think there's a couple options. Chimezie Metu slides into the starting lineup. Evan Fournier. I don't think they could go Cade, Ivy, Sasser. I don't believe they would do that, but I think between Troy Brown, Evan Fournier, and Chemezi Metu, one of those three start.
Okay.
That'd be my guess.
Merrill got 20 minutes. Nothing crazy there. It's probably it. Right? Toronto guys, I guess. Ramsey played 22.
Yeah. I mean,
Freeman
he played 20.
21.
Yeah, dude, he played like 20. He
Played everybody, right?
Darko played everybody. I just, it's a nightmare.
Yep. All right, let's go to small forward then. Again, LeBron questionable, Tatum questionable, Edwards questionable, Brown questionable. Kawhi Leonard is 86. Jimmy Butler had a Jimmy Butler game. We weren't sure which way he was going to go against Cleveland. 34, 5, and 4, 50 fantasy points. He most certainly draws Herb Jones in this game. So.
Do you remember?
Oh, no.
The New Orleans game?
I don't.
This was the Najee Marshall fight.
Oh, yeah. 50 fantasy points in that game. 23, 9, and 6.
This is the game they all got ejected and suspended for the brawl. And I think Jimmy I think I read something about Jimmy had a comment.
Okay.
So.
Well, he had a good game going for them. So.
Fired up Jimmy is something.
We were in on Siakam. Did not let us down. Did not let us down. 46 fantasy points there. I'd happily go back to the well there.
Agreed.
GG 62.
Dude.
Another monster game for GG Jackson here.
And now they're even more shorthanded than they were.
Right.
He's not coming off the floor. Why would we? 62 is too cheap. He's just not going to come off the floor.
No arguments. Bruce Brown, Sohan, Keldon, Kyle Anderson, Jaime Jaquez will get run. We already talked about Hauser already. Any other values for you? Laravia, 47 maybe?
Yeah, I think Laravia is in for another insert however many minutes he can handle. Because once again, it's like, well, they had Bane last game. They're not going to have Bane this game. They had Contra last game. Contra might not play in this game. He's questionable. They're already without Vince Williams again, Watanabe, Zaire Williams, Lamar Stevens, like everybody. So, yeah, I think Laravia is firmly back in play, 4,700. And he's in the rotation to begin with. He closed the first half and then closed the game because they got torched. So 30 minutes is in route. What do we do, though, John? And I think this is interesting, and I feel like this is chasing. If everyone is out again for Minnesota, Jaden McDaniels scored 26 actual points in a basketball game.
Yeah.
He's actually been pretty good for 2 straight games now in terms of fantasy production. Any interest there? It's a tough spot, obviously, but the production's been good.
Yeah, he's been fine. I don't know if I go here. I think I'd rather just let him beat me if he's going to beat me.
What about Agbaji?
Same thing.
30 minutes.
Especially against the Thunder, I don't really see that one running it back.
I know, but I'd
rather give Niang another look. Get a good day.
He plays a lot of minutes. Played a lot of minutes.
Played a lot of minutes. Shoots. Takes threes. Okoro had another tough night, but the minutes continue to be there.
Amir Coffey started the other day if Norm's not in, but he was kind of stunk. So.
Yeah, both Norm and Man were at the morning shoot around and then didn't play. So
I have to assume they're close.
Yeah. Of course, if everybody gets ruled out, we could be looking at some SV minutes here. So something to also, but we'll know. We'll know. 7 p.m. start time for Boston. Power forward.
AD eligibility for power forward again.
Hey, look at that. 10-3. Zion's 88. Triple J at 83. Any interest in those guys?
I mean, dude, Zion teamed himself, maybe? Not teamed himself, but like no Ingram. I mean, the ball's going to flow through Zion even more.
Mm-hmm.
I would love that. 8,800. Definitely can get to any of those guys up top, though.
Agreed.
And Triple J teamed to himself also, potentially.
25 shots coming, though. He'll be dealing with Wemby in this game, so.
That's also a fair point.
If Nas is in, we'll give him a look. Jalen Williams, 71 in a blowout. Kuminga had a really big game against Memphis.
He did.
26, 5, and 4 in that one in 28 minutes because he got out of hand. In a competitive game, I mean, Kuminga certainly could be in a better spot. Kelly O and Chet will have a fun little matchup against one another at 66. Santi, big Santi day.
Dude, Santa Claus went nuts. He went nuts the other day. And
3 straight games paying off the price tag. Obviously, he exploded against Golden State.
I mean, he's a good basketball player. So if you very short-handed team, you could definitely get there.
Caleb Martin. Minutes are good. Shots are bad.
Yeah, I don't think they get better if Bam's back either. So
anybody else for you down here for value then?
I mean, you mentioned Herbie at small forward, but definitely interest at 5K.
Sure.
Power forward. If Bam doesn't play, I mean, you talked about it with the Jokic minutes. He played 33 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
That would be I think that would be a great value if that's the direction they decide to go. Even with everyone playing in Toronto, I'd be very intrigued by the Jordan Nwora ownership again. I faded it the other day, and it didn't hurt me at all. Which is,
I think it drops down. I think people saw the 25 minutes, jumped on board, and then got 17, and were like,
Tosan, I think I wouldn't be totally against if he played 30 minutes.
Jalen Smith all the way down to 47 now.
Okay, well, do you know why?
No.
He DMP'd. He got replaced by Isaiah Jackson, who, by the way, went crazy last game. So we're in that part of the year, by the way, because that was, if you remember last year, that was part of the thing. He went crazy in this game. So we're at the part of the program, which has happened the last couple of years with the mad scientist, where you don't know who the backup center is. Do you remember how often I talked about this last year? I was like, you can play one of them, but you don't know if you're going to get a 0 or not.
Sure.
So unless you got a crystal ball and you tell me who you know that Jalen Smith is going to, because I agree, Jalen Smith plays at 37. I'd play Jalen Smith. That's
100%. Yeah.
But I don't know. Now, is he going to, why would he play after what Isaiah Jackson just did? Right. I just saw you flash Chimezie Metu on the
probably fine, right?
Agreed. No, totally. I think
especially he starts, but either way, they're so depleted. He's going to get some rotational minutes in here at the front court.
Dude, he's been pretty good. When he gets on the floor, he's like a pretty good fantasy point.
Yeah, I was surprised he was floating around out there for as long as he was. Memphis got him and then let him go. They're dead for bodies. So, Wemby 10-6, obviously. Every slate that Wemby's been on, I've just said, play the man. Yeah, he had a tough game against Dallas. He still had 7 blocks and steals. Those days come, and then he gives you 76. So, willing to run it back. He's averaging 50 in 2 games against Memphis in less than 30 minutes of playing time. DeAndre Ayton ate it for us in this one.
Nice.
Thanks. Must have been sleeping on an air mattress. 4 for 10, 26 minutes.
Water bed in this game.
Yeah. I'm willing to go back to the well here. Same matchup for him.
Yeah. I mean, to be fair, Zubats has definitely been good defensively. Ayton was also just bad in this game. Couldn't get anything going. 4 turnovers in 26 minutes, and then just never got back on the floor in the fourth quarter. So, Wemby for sure interested. AD for sure interested. If Bam plays, definitely interested. Bam's been on a good stretch, 4 straight games of 43 or more fantasy points. You mentioned the Jared Allen thing against Miami the other day. Well, if Minnesota starts Kyle Anderson at center, John,
that's why I don't think they can. I don't think they can do that.
Yeah, but dude, they did it against Jokic.
Yeah, I guess
they did it against literally a 2-time league MVP and Finals MVP and the basically best player in the NBA.
How'd that work for them? They almost won, right?
They almost came back and won. Luka Garza played You know, I'm just saying, like, they started Kyle Anderson at center.
Sure.
Like, that was the direction they went.
Well,
So,
you know how I feel about Jared Allen. Everybody's out anyway, so
right, right.
definitely in on playing him.
What about dude? Chet. I mean, I get it. He had like the absolute ceiling, but
Yeah,
also 42 fantasy points in 3 of his last or more in 3 of his last 4 and is still 7,400. We were paying 8K for a lot of the year
I
for Chet.
know. These spreads keep on getting bigger and bigger for the Thunder, and they're facing worse and worse teams. I mean, like Utah, like you can make a case like, oh, Utah has player X, Sexton, and maybe keep it close, or Memphis has Bane and Triple J, and whatever. But like, what does Toronto have to hang with the Thunder here, other than the fact that they're home? Like, what do they have? I don't know. Trent and Olynyk going to keep this game competitive enough? I don't know.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Well, I mean, tournament play for sure. Duren, 7K. Again, depends on who plays for. I liked Jalen Duren the other day against Boston because I thought they were going to not play Porzingis and all those guys, and then they ended up playing, and it was a blowout. He still had 8 and 9 in 22 minutes, though. So if they do sit everybody, and it's Cornette and Tillman, and this is a competitive game, and you get 30 minutes out of them, I think he can have a ceiling. So I guess it all depends on the starting lineup there.
He's a very good fantasy player.
Yeah. Then obviously we'd play Cornette.
Yeah, we'd play Cornette. Yep.
If everybody's out, you just plug in Cornette.
Yep, you just plug Cornette. I think you could probably make a case for Zubats. He was great the other night against DeAndre Ayton. Only had to play 24 minutes. Back-to-back games, he's only had to play. But look at the minutes for Zubats in the 2 games prior, like back to full capacity. So 5,400. We know Larry Nance will probably start the second half and play as many minutes as he can handle. If there's no Bam, I tried to warn everyone about Thomas Bryant. He does not play at all. He just doesn't get extended.
Still managed to sneak out 20 fantasy points.
He did sneak out fantasy, but yes, he got 5x. Good for him. It is interesting that Garza got 22 minutes, John. Jonte Porter got sick in that game and left.
Yeah.
It is interesting that Garza did get the 22 minutes because he's pretty good in those 22 minutes from a fantasy. He took 11 shots in 22 minutes. He is out there to chuck, and he does not care who knows it.
Nope.
But I gotta ask, would you play Isaiah Jackson at 3,800? I mean, we actually don't know if he's going to play, but he's coming off 10, 11, 6, and 3 steals, and he just straight outplayed.
So this is the report. This is the report after the game. Apparently, if you're just reading sort of the notes here, Rick Carlisle told the Indianapolis Star after the game that he came into the day prepared to insert Jackson, who grew up in nearby Pontiac, Michigan. So is it just a home game for him?
Yeah, the end of that comment is Carlisle's post-game comments suggest that the 23-year-old's entry into the rotation was more of a one-off thing. Expect Smith to step in as Turner's backup for Friday's game at Golden State.
Yeah. A crowd that featured several of his family members and friends. So go back to Jalen Smith at $3,700.
What a good guy Rick Carlisle is.
Carlisle for actually giving that information out. After the game would have been better before the game, but
would have been more useful before the game, correct?
Right, information I wish I had yesterday.
Yep. For sure.
But yeah, would you not just go back to Jalen Smith here then?
I'm scared of the zero, but
it seems very obvious that he only played because his friends and family were in the crowd.
I know. I'm just saying.
Or do you think that Carlisle saw this? Like, oh, look what I have in this Isaiah Jackson guy. 10, 11, 6, and 3.
I mean, dude, he does have a lot of riches at the center position because every time Jackson plays, he balls out.
Yes.
Every time he plays, he balls out. And then Jalen Smith is just
as soon as they finally trade Miles Turner,
this center rotation is going to take off. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would give Jalen Smith a look. Dude, he is a very good fantasy producer.
At $3,700, that is a very nice price for a guy that in 18, 19 minutes generally gets you over 20 fantasy points.
Yeah, I mean, here's the last 5 games for Jalen Smith: 25, 15, 23, 23, 25 fantasy points.
Okay. Well, playing over 20 minutes, how many times? Once?
Over none.
Over
20
none.
once. He has
20.
hit 18 to 20 in all 5 games.
Yeah. I'm in. Sold.
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 All right. Building a lineup. I'm going to start off with Jalen Smith because why not? We talked about it. Power forward. Jalen Smith here. What's our spend? What's your number one play?
Number 1 play is Victor Wembanyama.
Alrighty. Wemby, center. Got to plug Peyton Pritchard in because we already know Drew Holiday's out.
Yeah. I think some New Orleans is probably. I have a hard time believing
Murphy.
Ingram plays. Yeah, Murphy, maybe even like Murphy Herb or Murphy McCollum.
I'm fine going both. I'm fine going both of these guys here. 65, 53. Probably still go Derrick White because again, someone's sitting. 6K. I mean, we talked about it. We might come into this game at like 5. Like, do you just play Hauser?
Laravia. Let's start with Laravia.
GG?
Or GG. Yeah. Still have money for util here.
$5,800. This could still be
Clay. We don't have enough exposure to that game with a 240 total.
Has he been lately? Okay.
Good.
Okay. Where's Kuminga? What was Kuminga's price at?
67. So we'd have to come off. Yeah, I do. Yeah. 53. Oh, it's 100 off Scoot.
Yeah, it's 300 more than Hauser, which is still wow. That's Nance Arabia. And then if we know by Boston, everybody gets ruled out. We would just play Hauser.
Yep. And so also, or like Chemezi if Chemezi's starting.
Yeah,
or like
100%. Pritchard, Murphy, Jones, Jalen Smith, Wembanyama, White, Kuminga, and Laravia. $600 left over. James, on your playbook, hopefully we get news early in the day for Boston. Sometimes they're pretty good with giving us that information with enough time to figure it all out. We'll be back live 5 p.m. Eastern time, getting you all ready with all the latest news and updates. Till then, we'll see you later.